Good morning. Equality of rights and equal protection under the laws. Rights of one of the people equals rights of all of the people. All the people of all 50 states have equal rights and equal protection under the laws. The purpose of this video is to show you that you have equal rights in your state, the state that you live in, and also in all 50 states. They are inherent to you. You do not shed them as you cross from one state to another. They do not vanish. They do not disappear. They are inherent. That means they are part of you, so much attached to you that they cannot ever be alienated. They cannot be removed from you because God put them there. You also have a constitutionally guaranteed right to have your equal rights protected equally under the laws. You have a guaranteed right to constitutional due process as one of the people, which is not the other one. There's another due process. There are two. One is called constitutional due process, and that's for the people. The other one is for government personnel only. It is called administrative due process. Okay, so I'm coming right along here. I have a cough, so bear with me. Whenever I feel like I'm going to have to cough, I try to pause it so you don't have to hear it. So I'll do my best to do that. Okay, now, so remember, you have a guaranteed right to constitutional due process because it is in our constitutions, and the constitutions are our contract, compact, trust, indenture, and you know them as constitutions. And all government servants are duty bound and obligated to comply and faithfully protect, defend, support our rights, our individual rights, our inherent rights. And they guaranteed it. When they took the job, they guaranteed it. That's why they took the oath of office. And if the sneaky ones got in there without taking the oath of office, well, too bad. They already got the seat of office and got paid, so they have to do the same thing. All right, here I go. And I'll explain more in more detail in another video. So now, to prove it to you, I will show you the written law that is undeniable. We will look at vocabulary as well. It is time to learn that what was hidden from you is now going to be revealed, and it was hidden from you deliberately, purposefully, so that you wouldn't know and recognize when your rights were being interfered with, when they were being trespassed. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know that they were guaranteed to be protected. You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know how to use the full powers that you're about to find out that you have. You didn't know how to use, because they were supposed to teach you, and you didn't know how to now exercise them, use those powers. There is a way to do that. Okay, and this is what we're trying to teach you so that you and we, our families together, all of us, the people, will live in our country, in our nation, freely and with protection and safety, with obedient servants, because they are not our leaders, they are not our rulers, as a lot of them have said. Oh, you vote for rulers, you're leaders. No, they're not. They should never call themselves our leaders. That is treasonous talk. They should always refer to themselves as our servants. All the names that I told you in the other video that they are our magistrates, they are public officers, they are our public civil officers, they are our trustees, and especially this word, servants. So I'm going to show you, excuse me, let me cough again. Hold on a second. So I'm going to show you in this video evidence of the terms of that contract that they are to comply with. I'm going to show that to you, but I also have to show you vocabulary, because otherwise we won't be talking about the same things. So the vocabulary that I'm going to show you comes from Black's Law 5, and these dictionaries, they have about 11 of them, editions, and they are used by law students, they are used by lawyers, they are used by judges to recognize what things mean, so they can be on the same topic. But these books were written, and they're for bar members. And so you have to be careful how they're worded, because since they're written to be used in the law, quote unquote, the law, then they define things saying, well, in the law, it means this. So you have to be careful, and you also have to look what the real word means for regular folks, because that's important too. So here I go. One of the most important terms of our constitutions, found in our constitutions, is this term. I made a poster for it to kind of give you a mental image so that you can remember, oh yeah, the one with the hands, with a bunch of little hands growing off the fingertips. Why did I do that? Well, because of this. Let me read it to you and you'll know why I did it this way. And I quote, remember, this is a term that they already agreed to. It is a done deal. This is yours. Now let me say it again. I quote, that this enumeration of certain rights shall not impair or deny others retained by the people, and to guard against any encroachments on the rights herein retained, we declare that everything in this Declaration of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall forever remain inviolate. Do you understand what you just heard? If you're reading it, what you just read? You have constitutionally guaranteed rights that they are to support, defend, protect at all times, skipping no times. There's no break to defend our rights, support our rights, and protect our rights. There's no break they can take. They must do it at all times. And now you know that there are even rights that were not even written down in our constitutions. And they still have to support, defend, protect those rights that you know you have. And the people have so many rights, so many inherent rights given to us, given to the people by God, which no man better interfere with. No man is allowed to interfere with those rights that God has chosen to give to us. He saw fit to give those rights to us, inherently attached to us, and they cannot be alienated, removed from us. He gave us so many rights that they could not possibly write all of them in our constitutions, so they were left unwritten, but they must still be equally protected, supported, defended by our government servants. They are being paid to do that. They can't say no. They can't say they didn't know. They should read when they took the oath of office, they swore to protect and support and defend something. What in the world are they thinking they swore to support and defend? The word constitutions? Because they swore to defend the Constitution of their state and the Constitution of the United States. Those are two right there. And those two connect all of them, because you'll see why we have equal protection under the laws and we have equal rights. And you'll see how it all connects. It connects that they have to protect all of them, all because they're describing in all of them our rights. And they have about 4 different titles. You'll find them under, the majority of them have either the words Bill of Rights, some other ones have the words Declaration of Rights, and then there are 2 other ones. We'll go over that in another video. But now understand that they have to defend your rights, all of them, even the ones not written down. So start making a list of all your inherent rights, because they are yours and they should not mess with them, interfere with them, block them, anything, trespass. They have to protect them from the ones with the greater granted authority from us granted to them so they can carry out the job, from the little head honchos there, way down to the smallest servant. They're all servants. So from the servant with the most responsibilities down to the servant with the least responsibilities, but they are all our servants. Imagine them wearing aprons. Imagine them using a little feather duster, holding a broom and a dustpan. Imagine them, because they are not our leaders. Don't imagine them. They dress up very nicely with our pay, don't they? And some of them got into their heads that they are our leaders and rulers, and that is not the case. That is not true. Servants are not masters. Servants are not leaders of the masters. Servants are not the rulers of the masters, of the owners of all government, which is us, we the people. And look what it says here. This word is accepted out means it is, we tell them, you have these granted powers that come from us, these granted, limited, specific powers granted from, accept this. You don't have this. This, accept this. Do you understand? You have these small, few rights granted to you from us. That's it. You don't have these. Those accept these. They're accepted out. They are reserved to us. And we write some of them down so they can get the idea. And so they can remember what it is they're to protect. And also for our posterity, our future generations, so that they can see, oh yeah, look at this. I do have all those rights, inherent rights, and they are to protect them. So it is for us to remember we have the written rights and we also have the unenumerated rights. The written ones are called enumerated, right? Enumeration of rights. The ones that are non-enumerated or not enumerated, not written down. And they shall forever remain inviolate. So that it is forever. It doesn't mean that just for a little while, just from 9 to 5, just from 10 to 11. No, always, forever, shall forever remain inviolate. That means they cannot be violated. They cannot be violated. That's another word you have to understand, inviolate. Okay, so now that you know this super important term, do you understand the hidden powers that you have that were hidden from you? Was this taught to you in school? Was it taught to you? They were supposed to teach you. The servants were hired to make sure that our posterity learned very well and are number one in the world in education, and in particular, they have to know their full powers and authority and how to use them to make sure that our government servants remain within the law, complying with the law, doing exactly what we told them to do and nothing else. When they do something else we never hired them to do, they are outside the law. They are doing it on their own. And that is a harm, that is a danger to the people, and that is a harm to the people. That is an attack on our constitutions, an attack on the people. It is not allowed. So now you have to know, and you'll find it in Alabama Constitution, Article 1. This is Alabama State Constitution, Article 1, text of Section 36, Construction of Declaration of Rights. Look for it there in Ballotpedia. Of course, the legislature has to have it too. They're supposed to, but I noticed that not all states have them readily, easily accessible to the people, and that's a big no-no. Okay, let's look at some vocabulary because we have to be on the same page and understanding. Remember, this was written for bar members, for students that want to become lawyers, attorneys, so that they can learn the law, right? All right, let's find out what they write for the word equal. Equal, alike. When you're doing math, something on this side of the equation equals that on the other side of the equation, right? Now they wrote alike. So they wrote also uniform. on the same plane or level with respect to efficiency, worth, value, amount, or rights. That's right, equal. You have the same rights wherever you are. If one of the people in that state over there has a particular right, you have it too. You just haven't thought about it at the moment. You're busy with your life, but you have that right as well. Okay, now they continue with the definition. They say word equal as used in law implies not identity, but duality, and the use of one thing as the measure of another. Now, not identity. Well, I'm trying to figure out what do they mean by that, and so I will pull up this right here. This is the etymonline.com, the etymological dictionary online, and for the word identity, they write this, and it says, quote, sameness, oneness, state of being the same, close quote. Okay, and then they have, let me see, they have here again in quote, sameness. And then they have another quote here, the same. So you can read this and find out, get an idea that dictionary, those writers of the dictionary, what they mean by identity, because they wrote, identity there. And then they write duality, right? So what is duality? What they're talking about, what do they mean? Because the duality here, and I couldn't find duality in their dictionary, even though they used it to explain that vocabulary, and yet they did not have the word duality that I could find in that dictionary, so that it could help explain what they're talking about. So I had to find it over here. Now, duality means twofold nature, state of being two or divided in two. And that's close quote. I was in quotes. Okay, now it also says in quotes, that contains two, the dual number, duality, right? Close quotes. And then from duo, and in quotes they have two, the word two. Okay, duality, deux, like French deux, un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf. Okay, so that's deux, that means two. So I guess duality, right? So that's what they mean by that. And over here, identity means sameness. All right, so let's see if we can understand what they write here. So the word equal, as used in law, implies not identity, which you remember it says identity is sameness, but duality, two. Do you understand what in the world that means? Okay, I'm still in the okay, got to think that over. But I know that equal, when I look at math, it means the whatever's on this side of the equal sign is the same as whatever's on this side of the equal sign. And people have equal rights, right? All right, so the people on this side of the equal sign, they have the same rights as the people on this side of the equal sign. So, and they have the use of one thing as the measure of another. So are they talking about if one of the people uses a right, and that is what's the measure of another? So it's, to me, this is not clearly written. Is it clearly written to you? All right, let's move on. Now let's look at the word equal, and this is merriam-webster.com. And for that, they wrote equal. They wrote several definitions here, and I'm going to read. Okay, the first one says, number 1A says, of the same measure, quantity, amount, or number as another. Well, that's pretty clear. The same measure, okay. The same quantity, okay. The same amount, okay. Or the same number as another. Okay. That I can understand. It's the same. Equal is the same. All right. And now they have in parentheses number 2, it says identical in mathematical value or logical denotation. And they have here equivalent. All right. I get that. I can follow that. B, like in quality. Oh, in nature. So like in quality, like in nature, like in status, right? I can follow that. Like in quality, okay, you have rights. You have the nature. You have inherent rights, and that's your status. You're a possessor of inherent rights that happen to be because of us creating the government. They are now. There are many servants now with the duty and obligation to defend, support, protect those rights. And that's your status. You're the head honcho, the top of the pile. That's us. We're on the top of the mountain in this nation. We are the masters. They are the servants. Whenever there's a servant, you know there's a master. Whenever there's a trustee, you know that there's a trust. Whenever there's a trustee that is obligated to serve for a particular duration of time, then you know it's a trust indenture. All right. Now, continue with the definition of equal. In under C, it says like for each member of a group, class, or society. All right. So it's like for each member of a group, like for each member of a class, like for each member of society. Oh, okay. It's alike. They get all the same rights. We have all the same rights. And they have a sentence here to help explain. Provide equal employment opportunities. Okay, that's true. And number 2 definition for the word equal, it says regarding or affecting all objects in the same way. It is impartial. Okay? All objects have to be, they're all regarded and they're all being affected the same way. We have equal rights, folks. So that's what it says here in Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And let's see now. Now I found it in edamonline.com. Let's see what they have. Well, they have in quotes the words identical in amount, extent, or portion. Close quote. I can understand that. Identical in amount. We have all the same rights. Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, in quotes, even or smooth of surface. Well, that's for something else, right? Because you have even rights, smooth rights. Excuse me, cough. Okay, let's see here. It says, let's see, impartial. I underlined impartial. It says flat, as tall as, on a level with, friendly, kind, just, fair, equitable, impartial, proportionate, calm, tranquil, which is of unknown origin, parallel formation. They have all these things to try to explain it, but it's easy for me right away to understand the word identical. I know that word, identical, in amount, extent, or portion. I can get that. I understand that. I understand uniform, identical, and impartial. I understand that. Now let's look at this Black's Law 5 again. Equality, because we're getting to, it's important for us to understand that we have equal rights and they have to defend them. That's why we're going through all these words. If you get bored, you can fast forward to the next things because I do have important things to share with you in this video. If you want to live with your full unimpaired rights, uninterfered with, you have to really know this. You have to put in the time to know this, okay? So let's hang in there and work together to learn this. Okay, now equality, the condition of possessing substantially the same rights, privileges, and immunities. And I don't know why they wrote substantially. Why did they write that? Mr. Whoever wrote this dictionary for the law students. Why did you write substantially? Watch this. The condition of possessing the same rights, privileges, and immunities. Right? Doesn't that make better sense? Why would they write substantially? The condition of possessing substantially the same rights, privileges, and immunities, and being liable to substantially the same duties. Substantially. They like the word substantially, huh? All right. They put equality guaranteed under equal protection clause is equality under the same conditions and among persons similarly situated. Classifications must not be arbitrary and must be based upon some difference in classes having substantial relation to legitimate objects to be accomplished. Here they like the word substantial again. Okay, so let's see. Now they're saying that it's under the equal protection clause. Well, let me just tell you, that could be written again in the equal protection clause. But let me just tell you, you saw up there, you're gonna see, well, I'm about to show you the contract terms where it says we have equal rights. So, and it's not a clause, it's an actual provision in the contract. It's an actual contract term. It is not a clause. So they could write another clause. They got together and the people didn't know what was going on. They wrote another clause so they can just focus on the clause and not focus on the actual term of the contract. Huh? Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Look at this one. This is really important because it's getting down now to what we're talking about, like really closer. It says equal protection of the law. You really want to know what these dictionary writers are going to define for the lawyers, the up-and-coming judges, and the people that are going to be running around practicing law. They're always practicing law. And what law are they practicing? Because as far as I have seen, bar members really like to work with statutes, codes, policies, regulations, that sort of thing. But as you saw in other videos that have made, the true laws, real laws, that's in their constitutions and the fundamental laws. And you'll know more, and I'll explain to you more about the fundamental laws. But in our constitutions, those are real laws. The authentic, real, true laws. The legislature, and anyone beneath the legislature, okay? The legislature, they don't write laws. Even though you see them, oh, that's the law, and that's government, corporation, bylaws, and they call them laws for short, but they're statutes, they're acts. They are the rules for government personnel for them to follow. They are being employed because they are employing a lot of government, the new employees, the government servants are employing more servants to accomplish the tasks we hired them to do. And they need to know what they're supposed to do and how to do it, what time to come in, etc. Those are the statutes for them. Those are the acts for them that they're supposed to follow. They're the codes. When I have a lot to say about codes, because you're going to be shocked when I do that video for codes. You're going to be shocked. Well, I've done some videos on codes and it explains many things, but I'm going to do more so you can really, really get it. You're going to be shocked and pretty upset when you find out about codes. All right. So now here, the constitutional guarantee of equal protection of the laws means that no person or class of persons shall be denied the same protection of the laws. They'll not be denied that equal protection of the laws, which is enjoyed by other persons or other classes in like circumstances in their lives, liberty, property, and in their pursuit of happiness. Which I don't understand. In this definition, why do they only choose to write the word persons? And why can't they also write the word people? But okay, so they're probably just referring to citizens that are voluntarily inside the society, because it's all voluntary and you can go in and out like a yo-yo. I explained to you in the other video. So okay, persons, which they want to call, they cannot be denied any the protection of the laws, the equal protection. Okay, the equal protection of the laws of a state is extended to persons within its jurisdiction, within the meaning of the constitutional requirement, when its courts are open to them on the same conditions as to others, with like rules of evidence and modes of procedure, for the security of their persons and property, the prevention and redress of wrongs, and the enforcement of contracts. when they are subjected to no restrictions in the acquisition of property, the enjoyment of personal liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which do not generally affect others, when they are liable to no other or greater burdens and charges than such as are laid upon others. When they are liable to no other or greater burdens and charges than such as laid upon others. I read that because I was coughing and I lost my spot. And with no different or greater punishment is enforced against them for a violation of the laws. In other words, you have to have equal modes of procedure that are the same. You have to have like rules of evidence that are the same. And it says here when its courts are open, the court, just about the courts, they're supposed to be open all the time for you. In other words, they're accessible to you. They are not restricted to you. You don't have to pay anything, guys. No money. You don't have to pay to access your courts and use your courts. It is supposed to be free. It's guaranteed to be free. 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 Gratis. So it's gratis, right? No money down. No paying for it. Any more clearer than that? And they're supposed to be open to you to use them. Okay, and the only time that they can be closed is when, of course, if we're being attacked by another nation and they're bombarding us and there are bombs blowing everywhere and attacked, they got to close them because, everybody's got to run for cover, right? To hide from the bombs and all that. If that's not happening, and it's not like they can't have any other emergency thing where they say, well, we have to close it down because there's this emergency situation. There can be no other emergency. Under no circumstances can they be closed other than if we are actively being bombarded by the enemy of the United States of America. And that is the only time they can be closed. And then you have other procedures to take place because they got to run for cover, remember? Other than that, no siree. Oh, the scientists said this, the scientists said that. Well, no, they're scientists that have opposing views. You can use any scientist and they'll say this and they'll say that one said the other thing. And they're all using science to say it. Oh, great. Okay, remember. So you have to have equal everything. And I'll do another video on the court of record, on constitutional due process that is completely for the people. And you'll see that there's a distinction between administrative due process, which is not for the people, it's for government personnel. And then you'll see that in constitutional due process, they can only deal with you in a court of record. It is called a court of record. And I will talk to you more about it in another video. But one of the main things in the court of record is that you have a jury of peers. And this is going to blow you away. You have to have a jury of peers. If they want to take away anything from you, your money, even if it's just $50, even if it's just $100, whatever. If they want to take away your time, if they want to take something for you, they say they gave you a ticket and you have to go pay a ticket. Whatever in their mind, they want to take away from you. They want to take away your children. They want to take away your house. They want to say that, hey, you're in bankruptcy. You got it. That you're in foreclosure. We got to take that house. Whatever they want to do to take away from you, it can only be done by first processing, putting you through something called the constitutional due process. And in order for that to be the real constitutional due process, there has to be a court of record, not something that's court-like. Kind of, sort of like a court, but not really a court. It's not really a court, guys. It's sort of kind of like a court. It looks like it. It's like when someone dresses for Halloween like a police officer, but it's not really a police officer real uniform. It's just a pretendy costume. Or they dress up like a doctor, but it's not really a real true doctor's outfit with a real everything. It's just a costume, right? It's court-like. That's the administrative due process. They're court-like. They're not really, really courts for the people, right? And a court of record, and you're going to see quickly there are many elements to a court of record, and one obvious, clear one that you can just know wherever you go. If you go to any place, what you think is a court, even if it's like a divorce or family court, divorce court, anything, child support court, whatever it is, traffic court, they call it, they have the word court, they call it a court. And you may even see someone dressed in a black robe, like a big black dress on. You might see someone dressed in that. Well, if for you, if there is no jury of peers listening to you, to your evidence, what you have to say in your defense, because they're accusing you of something, they want to take something from you. If there's no jury of your peers attentively paying attention to you and looking at your evidence, that is not a court of record. And if they did it like that and they took your stuff, anything, time, money, kids, cats, dogs, horses, a house, a piece of land, anything from you, and there was no jury of your peers in a true court of record, they messed up. They bumbled it big time. They were never allowed to take anything from you unless that was in place. If they took it, they have to give it back. If they can't give it back because they sold it to someone else, they got to restore you somehow to a position as though you were never harmed. And that is where redress of grievance comes in, and you have to know how to petition for that redress of grievance properly, so they cannot deny that you served them with that you gave them that, and they can't hide it, so they can't run away and say, well, I didn't know anything. I don't know what he's talking about, or what she's talking about. See, if you don't serve it, if you don't give it to them properly with the right words inside those documents, right, then they could say that, that's nothing. It has no power. It has to be put on the record. So now you're getting an idea of your equal rights and equal protection. And this is equal protection, but this is for taxation, and we're not going to deal with that right here in this video. You can read it anyway at home. Here, now let's look at the word. We're almost getting to the actual terms of the contract, but you have to know what the consent means because it'll be in there. So consent, a concurrence of wills, voluntarily yielding the will to the proposition of another, acquiescence or compliance therewith. Remember, when you as the people, the boss, the master of government, the owners of government, we are the creators of government. When we create government for our benefit so that we can enjoy life better and we can do our things, we then enter voluntarily because we wish to. We're never forced. We walk in there and walk into society and say, okay, I'm going to relax here. And when you're relaxing and getting the benefit as a beneficiary in society, you are a then labeled citizen of that state. So now you can enjoy. You're supposed to benefit. They're supposed to do everything to benefit you. Just picture them fanning you with those fancy fans made of those ostrich feathers, and they're fanning you, relaxing. They're bringing you all these special drinks with their little adornments on the drinks, and you're sipping and eating grapes. You're the beneficiary, enjoying what the government's busy working. They're busy servants working to benefit you. And so you are, as a citizen, enjoying those benefits. The minute they go out of line and they're not benefiting you, you can stop that feather, the one that's fanning you with a feather, put your drink down and stand up and take your place again as the people, because you never stop being one of the people, the head honcho, the master, the boss, the owner of government. You never stop being that. Now you go ahead and you're the trust protector, because remember, it's a trust indenture, and now you're going to protect it. Because if a government servants are not doing their job and they see that you're being harmed and the other ones don't do something about it, they're failing too. Because when any servant sees that another servant is is infringing on your rights, is trespassing on your rights, they are to stop that situation and protect you. They are to protect you. Just think of robots that go rogue, that go crazy. They're malfunctioning. Maybe they got struck by lightning, and they got hit by a car, whatever it is, and they stopped functioning with the programming. It is gone rogue. Well, we can't allow that to happen, because it's a danger to us. It's a danger to the people. It's a danger to all of us when a robot just starts to malfunction. And this is why I like to put this little picture right here, which I'm about to post to you again, so that you can remember. Look at them as robots. Look at your servants, because it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar. They have programming they have to obey, right? And our servants have terms of the contract they have to obey. And if this little guy messes up, he got hit by lightning, and now his brain is all shorting out, all his motherboard is shorting out, and it starts hurting the people, well, you got to be put away. Same thing with the servant. If they start doing their will instead of the people's will, if they start going, if they start disobeying the terms of the contract and unfaithfully carrying them out, they're doing their own will for their own benefit, for their own purposes. They're a danger to everyone, every one of us, aren't they? They have to be removed from the seat of office, and we have the right, and it's in the Constitution, to remove them from the seat of office if they're found to be in maladministration, which means all they have to be is inadequate. They're inadequate, and not following the terms of the contract, that's inadequate. This is why I keep putting this in front of you, because you got to remember, they're just... Put a little apron on this little robot. Put a little apron here and a feather duster. I'm going to try to find an image for you that has that. Well, now you know. Now you know they have to obey every term of the contract. And so if they see that you are being harmed, if one servant sees that you are being your rights, your constitutionally guaranteed rights are being trespassed, they are to immediately activate, get into gear, and defend your rights. Get along quickly to defend your rights. They better hop to it. Come on, hop to it. Because they're getting paid, and they wanted to work there. Did you know? Nobody forced them to be a servant of ours. Nobody forced them. You don't have to feel sorry for them. Oh, poor little servant. They don't know any better. Oh, poor little sweeties. Oh, they're servants. I should feel sad for them. Well, they wanted to be our servant because they get paid very well. They wanted to serve us. That's the job they wanted to have. They could have worked somewhere else. They could have taken their knowledge and worked somewhere else. But no. They volunteered. They wanted to serve us. I want to serve the people. I love them so much. Give me babies. I love babies. Let me kiss a little baby in the forehead. Mwah, 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 mwah. Give me those babies. I love everyone. I'm going to serve you and be the best one to serve you. I love you all, people. Then they get in there and they treat you like dirt. They get in there and forget about you and treat you like dirt and trample your rights. They trespass your rights. And then they become richer and richer and richer. Well, why? Because we give them a fixed paycheck. They're to get a particular amount of money. And how in the world are they finding a way to make themselves rich when they're supposed to be working for us and not working for their own things? The reason they're in there is to give it their all, working and focusing on us to benefit us. If they're not focusing on us because they're benefiting themselves, making themselves rich, well, they're not supposed to be there. Get out of there. What are they doing there as our servants if they're not really focusing and using their energies and times and creativity to benefit us? They're using their time and creativity to benefit themselves. They need to not be in our seats of office. They need to go in the back and do their own thing and make themselves rich outside of our seats of office. That's not what we allowed them to do. That is contrary to the terms of the contract. Now I'm going to show you this. Now look at this term in the contract, compact, trust indenture, constitution. This is Arkansas State Constitution, text of Section 2, freedom and independence. And I underlined it. I annotated it for you. You annotate your way, and I'm trying to annotate best I can because I want to highlight these words to really don't skip these words. Every word matters. And especially in the term of the contract, are you kidding? You have to pay attention because this was hidden from you. They didn't take time to teach you in schools all of your Bill of Rights and Declaration of Rights, and they didn't take time to show you how to make sure that your servants don't go outside the law and become outlaws. If they go outside the law, they are outlaws, doing things without authority, without our permission. We didn't grant them for them to do those activities while serving us, while getting a paycheck as our servants, and then they go outside, do extracurricular activities, their own fun things. Ooh, let's hurt the people. That's fun. Ooh, let's take their stuff. That's fun. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that. That is really the type of behavior when they're outside authority using and pretending they have authority to do this and they don't have authority to do it. That's really a big no-no, and you're going to find more in another video about the word treason. Okay. So let's read this together. This is the term, and I quote, "All men are created equally free and independent, and have certain inherent and inalienable rights, amongst which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring and possessing and protecting property and reputation, and of pursuing their own happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." Okay, let's break this down. All right, if you already are way ahead of the game and you're super fast, in knowing stuff, you could skip this, but I'm telling you, let's talk about it. It's better if we talk about it. Now, pay attention to the word all. All men are created equally free and independent. There's if it's all, there's none that don't have that. There's all encompasses all of them, 100%, 100 out of 100. All men are created equally free and independent, right? And the word men includes women. You know this. And they are created. So our founding fathers were Christian believers. They believed in God Almighty, and they read the Bible, and they understood biblical principles, and they are the common law. That's where the common law comes from. And you'll know more in another video about the common law. And so, excuse me, I coughed. Okay, so they know that we were created. We didn't just blow up into existence. Just how ridiculous is that when you blow up into existence? Out of nothing, gabam. What ignited that gabam into existence? That is so ridiculous. And scientists, smart scientists, they all agree. Oh, the big bang, boom, bada bum, bada bing, bada boom. And presto, humanity. That's so ridiculous. We were created by God Almighty, and God our true God, the only living God, God Almighty, worthy of praise, worthy of loving praise. He created us. He is a loving God. He created us equally free and independent, which means we are not born slaves. God does not want us to be slaves. He allows a lot of things to happen because evil has to bubble up, because when he sends people to that permanent prison called hell, when he sends people to hell, it is going to be very clear that he did it with justice. And he has to allow people to go ahead and express themselves. That is his will. His will is that that he doesn't stop every evil thing from happening. He allows a certain amount and a certain type and a certain in periods of time where evil is expressed by people, and he doesn't stop them, because see, when he sends them to hell, you have to recognize he did it with justice, because he didn't force them to do evil things. He didn't force them to be wicked. They wanted to be wicked. They wanted to be wicked. So therefore they qualify, and it is a just thing to put them in hell, because, hey, the party's going to go on in heaven. That's where the fiesta is going to take place, in heaven. That's the party time. That's a good time, good forever time for the people of God. And God will only allow who into heaven whom he will allow. And he will not allow evil people to be in there. People who wish to be evil and don't go to him for forgiveness, do not repent and go to him for God to clean them. They don't reach out to God. They don't respect God. They go against God. They hate him. They hate him because of he is telling them to love your neighbor as yourself, and they hate that. They don't want to love the neighbors as themselves. In other words, don't hurt them. They want to hurt them. So it is justice when he sends them to hell. So it has to be allowed. God allows it, because otherwise, if he stopped every single evil, then how can he show, hey, they wanted to be evil, that's why he sent them there. Because he wants us to freely love him. And we do. I do. I love you, God. I love you. Bless me and forgive me for all my sins. I love you so much. You have to repent, people. You have to repent while you're still here on the planet Earth. The time is going to run out. When you're dead, and you can't repent at that time. It's too late. Too late. So this is why our founding fathers were believers, and that's why they wrote that God created. See? All men are created equally free and independent. Our loving God created us to not be slaves. Only men, horrible men, turn people into slaves. And we are independent. We are not attached to any we're not attached to anyone where they can say, oh, this one bosses me around, this government bosses me around, or this king is over me. No, we're independent. God created us independent. No king over us. Now, whenever you see a nation that has a king, when you see a nation that has a king, the people there voluntarily, like in the Bible, they wanted to have a king. So they volunteered themselves into having a king over them. And many times it happens to people where they don't volunteer, when they are forced by thugs, by hoodlums, by weirdos, and turn them into subjects and become kings over them. And since the people didn't have enough weapons and this and fight off, they were coerced into becoming subjects, and they had no alternative. That has happened too. But in reality, they could, if they all wanted to, they don't have to continue having a king or queen over them. It is voluntary. God creates humans to be free and independent. And only if they all come together, consult together, assemble together for their common good, and they say, hey, I think our common good, we want to have a king and queen or queen. That's their business. That's not what I would do. That's not what I would agree to. But if they want to agree to that, whoa, let them take what's coming. They wanted to do that. They don't have to now after they saw what came and didn't feel good. They don't have to continue having a king or queen. They don't have to, because God is stronger than any of those kings and queens, more powerful than any of those. He's a king of kings. He's the king of kings, the Lord of lords. If you poor subjected people don't want to have a king or queen, you don't have to. Go to God. Go to God, pray to God, ask him for help. He will hear your prayers if they're true to him, full of love and faith in his son, Jesus Christ. He will hear your prayers. Go talk to him. Tell him you don't want to be subjects under a king or queen. Work with him. So, for us, in our nation, this is a Christian nation, and our God is King of kings and Lord of lords, and he's the only king over the people. Because there are no other kings, there are no human kings or queens over the people. There are no monarchs here over the people. We don't have that. We don't have that here in the United States of America. And guess what? And we have, it says, and have certain inherent and inalienable rights. They are inherent, yes, by God. Stuck to you, stuck to your chromosomes, stuck to you completely. They cannot separate these inherent rights from you. They cannot alienate them, separate them, right? And amongst which are those of enjoying and defending life. See, God is a loving God. He wants you to enjoy him, because all things worth enjoying, they come from him. So he wants you to enjoy, because that's him. That's his personality. We're so blessed to have a God that is loving God, that is a God that wants us to have joy, wants us to enjoy loving each other. And you cannot overlove someone. If it's true love, you're loving correctly. It comes from God. God is, and I know, love only comes from God. It doesn't come from everything else that people would call love. It's just lust or desire, or they feel like, hey, this is better than nothing, or this is, and they're serving each other's purposes, and they call that love. No, there's only true love. It comes from God, and Christians experience true love. Okay, and defending life. See, God allows us to defend life from the womb all the way till the gray-haired, gray-whiskered human, man or woman. We have the inherent right to defend life, our own life, and all those, the lives of those we love, right? And we have liberty, all sorts of liberty, not just one liberty. We have all sorts of things, and here is that based on God. God gives us this. God is a loving God. In our country, it's a loving God. He's a loving God. He blesses us like this. Now, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, God gives us the right of acquiring property, of possessing property, and protecting property. And our servants are to assist, to quickly, diligently, faithfully support, defend, protect our rights. Our rights of acquiring property. How can we acquire it if we are closed down, if we're locked down and we can't go out of our houses or go to work, or all these beauticians, they couldn't work because they had to close their shops and go home. And but I've got to feed my child. Too bad. Go home. We don't let you work. That's you know what? Our servants were hired to defend and protect our rights, so they can't, on the other hand, attack our rights. Do you know that's warring with the United States of America? That's warring. That's being in war. That's open and declared war against the people of the United States of America. If on the one hand they're servants being paid to protect our rights, and they're there using our seats of office, attacking our rights, that they're like the enemy, infiltrated. It's like if some country that hates America infiltrates our government and they're in there devastating the people, harming the people. That can't be allowed. That's why they have to follow the contract. So we can make sure that they're not the enemy of the United States of America. If they start harming the people, what does an enemy do? What does the enemy of the United States of America, the people, what does an enemy do? They harm the people. So why would our servants that harm the people, why would that be okay? Why would that be okay? It's not okay. And there are penalties, steep penalties for that. Okay, and we have the right to protecting our property. And remember, all your rights, Bill of Rights, Declarations of Rights, enumerated and not enumerated rights, they are your property. They are your property. Your time, that's your property. Your money, that's your property. Your cats, your dogs, your horses, they are your property. Your land, that's your property. Your house, that's your property. Your clothes, that's your property. Your car, that's your property. They can't take any of it without constitutional due process in a court of record with a jury of your peers. You even have a right to protect your reputation. They can't even speak badly about you and ruin your reputation so that people look at you weird and they don't want to work with you or hire you, or you can't carry on your activities because your reputation has been harmed. You have a right to protect that too. And of pursuing their own happiness. Yes. Here, if somebody across the street, they don't like you to be happy because only what they like, they consider that's the happiness that all people should have. Sorry, but everyone has their own idea of what makes them happy, and they have a right to pursue that happiness, whatever it is. If they're happy going outer space, flying, being a spacesuit, they can pursue that happiness as long as they don't hurt anyone. They can't hurt anyone with their rocket ships. They can't hurt anyone with their debris falling down to earth and smacking someone in the head while they're sleeping. Right? They can pursue their happiness. Someone can go ahead and, climb a mountain, like I said. That's their happiness. That's their happiness. As long as they don't hurt anyone, that's their happiness. If they want to race and, there are some places where people can go to race. If they want to race and be going 300 miles an hour, they can do that. That's their happiness, as long as they don't hurt anyone. They can't be, doing things that hurt anyone. That's the only thing that is off limits to someone's happiness. They can't hurt anyone, not even a cute little baby in the womb. Because then they won't be happy. They won't be able to go continue partying at the discotheque or at the nightclub. They want to abort the baby. You can call it abort the baby. It's murder the baby, because the baby, it's already a life from conception, and they have to be protected. And it's already in our foundational laws. They are foundational in this country, in this nation. It's already agreed to by all our servants. They already agreed to protect all of the people's rights, including the rights of the unborn. It's very clear. I'll show you in another video. People may not like it, but it's already in the foundational documents. They have to protect those rights of the unborn. It's already in there. People don't need to go to court about that. It's already a done deal there. You just can't hurt anyone. Don't get pregnant then. Don't go doing things against God, which is being promiscuous. That's against God. Anyway, governments are instituted among men. So to secure these rights, that means we create those governments and we institute them, and it's among men so they can help protect our rights. We are number one in protecting our rights. We never gave up the right to protect our rights. They are to help us protect our rights. And they cannot stop until our rights are protected. They can't say, oh, I have to give up now. I tried to protect your rights. No, I have to continue until your rights are really protected. And if something was taken from you, it has to be restored back to you. And it says here, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Yes, there are many different powers, and there's a power of being moral, of having justice, of being faithful, of being compliant, of being someone who is really, really wanting to be our servant because they really care about us and they really want to support, defend, and protect our rights. They care about others. There are people who are so loving, they care for others. They lay their lives down for others. You've seen them do that. You've seen a lot of the firemen. They go in dangerous places. They're willing to lay down their lives for others, to save others. They're willing to endanger their own lives for the sake of saving someone else, helping someone else. They have just powers. They have goodness in them. They're faithful. And the same goes for our servants. There are servants that are good. They just maybe don't know, and we're going to help them understand, because some servants were just like us. We're not taught all of these things, and they might be really good people, good servants, and we want to help them to see and give them a chance to see what the right thing is, what is written in the laws, in the highest law of our nation. And they need to be given an opportunity to go ahead and mend their ways, correct their ways, and do the right thing. And then you will distinguish them from the servants that are awful, that are really there to do their own will and benefit themselves. You'll see the difference. And I showed you in another video an example of a wonderful servant doing the right thing, doing what must be done. Servant, that's exemplary of what a servant should do and be like. And I love that. I love that we have that for you to see. They are responding right now. They are responding positively. They're coming back and they're realizing what the truth is. And we have to understand what the truth is. Give them a chance. And now we distinguish, just like God gives us a chance to show who we are, what we like. If He gives us a chance. If we want to be evil, if we want to be wicked, He lets us be to a certain degree, show that wickedness, show that evilness, not to the fullest degree, because He always holds it back, controls it back. But He allows some of it to be expressed and shown, because when He sends people to hell, it will be justice served. It will be the right thing that He did, and it will be seen clearly. And He also has mercy. Because when He expresses that personality trait of His, when He expresses that which He is glorious in mercy, He is wonderful in mercy, He is abundant, a merciful God. If you go to Him, no matter what you have done, no matter what it is, how disgusting, despicable, and you should feel bad about it, because that shows that your heart is being moved, it's being changed. If you feel bad about doing wrong, that's a good sign. Go to Him. Go to Him, and He will forgive you. Go to Him. Ask Him. Talk to Him. Read the Bible. Read the Bible, the King James Version book, the Bible. Read it. Read it, and you'll know that He's a loving God, and He's rich in mercy, but only while you're here on earth, while you're still alive. He will not apply mercy. Once He applies justice to you, because you didn't repent, you didn't go to Him, He puts you in hell, it's done deal. It's over. There is no exit door. So you have to do it now while the time is available to you. And the same for us. We are like God. We wish God is changing us in this earth, and we will be completely changed once we're in heaven. Be completely changed, but we are being changed even right now, and we are to be like Him. And the same way, we have to have mercy for people. When we see them truly repent And we see them changing their ways, because to repent is really, they have to change their ways and be different, and then leave the evilness behind and start mending what they have done. That's how you show it. If they know they harmed people, they have to work hard at restoring the people. They have to go ahead and help us get the word out. And that's how we know if they were true, if they need mercy from us. We will see them speaking on our behalf, explaining to the rest of the people and to the rest of the servants, showing everyone, because not the people have not been taught this. They have to be shown the truth of the real powers of the people. And then you know that servant must receive mercy from us. And when you see the wicked ones unrepenting, still moving along towards hurting people, still wishing to get away with murder and mischief and crimes, they're unrepentant. They need to receive justice from us, which is to go ahead and be properly, lawfully prosecuted for treason. And and they get the same, they have to have a trial. They have to have a jury. They have to have the procedures in place so that they can present their evidence to defend themselves, just in case there's a mistake that's made and they were not treasonous. They need to have the proper procedure in place so they can have a way to talk and say and present their evidence. We're being fair. We're being good. We have to do that. And now, the consent of the governed, remember, the people are never the governed. You have to really memorize that. It's a hard thing to understand because we're used to being commanded by our servants. We're used to having to obey many things. Oh, that's the law. But it wasn't a law, it was a statute. Or it was a policy. We have to do what they say. Well, we're used to thinking that we're being governed. We were being bossed around, and that was against the law. The people are not the governed. The servants are the governed, and they consented to become servants. And when they consent to be servants, we consent to allow them to work for us as long as they remain within the law and comply to every term in the contract, trust, indenture, constitution, compact. As long as they comply with every term, we consent to allow them to remain in the seat of office that belongs to us. We'll consent to that. And they consent to be governed and use their just powers, their moral powers, their good powers to be good and faithful servants. And I wrote it again here in a different way, just so you can kind of read it. For those who may not hear me clearly, you can read what I'm saying. Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, a moral power, just powers to do justly, to be faithful, to obey, to comply. When one of the people consents to be governed and obey and comply to commands, they must be of a good moral character. In other words, from the people, there are some who step forward and willingly, voluntarily wish to become servants. So then they set aside, because remember, they're born free and independent, and they set certain things aside and they don't use their full powers now. They are now subjected to being governed, to being commanded, to being told what to do, what not to do. And they are willingly ready to comply with that. They want to comply with that. They're telling us in their oath of office that they are going to support and defend the state constitution and the United States Constitution. They let us know they're going to be faithful, and they swear to it or affirm to it and then sign on the line to it. So then, because they do that, we give them the benefit of the doubt and we allow them to take the seat of office and become our servants. We consent to them becoming our servants, and they consent to be governed and do justly and be faithful and benefit the people. See, the people consent to allow them to serve as long as they serve and benefit the people in all they do. The governed servants consent to be faithful and obey and comply and do everything justly and within the law. Now let's look at Arkansas Constitution, text of Section 18, Privileges and Immunities, Equality. And I quote, "The General Assembly shall not grant to any citizen or class of citizens privileges or immunities which upon the same terms shall not equally belong to all citizens." You see? They shall not grant to any citizen or class of citizens privileges or immunities. You know how certain groups and class of people, they've been granted these privileges to monopolize the law, to be the only ones that can talk the law, when in fact it was the people who wrote the law in our constitutions, and we are the only ones who truly may write law, the only ones who are able by God to write law here, write down the law, because it comes from our Bible, it comes from God, and we can only write good things that are in pursuance of God. You could kind of say that don't clash with God, they don't clash with God's ways, or else you have God as the enemy. Don't do that. Don't be a ding-dong, foolish person. Don't do that. So, they're not allowed to give special privileges, for example, just so you can know. So, we as the people granted the legislature to legislate, right? So only they can legislate. The judicial the branch cannot legislate. The executive branch cannot legislate. Only the legislature can legislate. Because we're the bosses, and we said that's the way we want it, and that's the way it must be. It shall be that. We have it. So they cannot now all of a sudden grant certain people, oh, you can legislate. You can write legislation. No. Also, they cannot say, hey, you can be the only ones who deal in law, who can speak anything about the law. Only your little private membership association, your private group, your members are the only ones who can deal in the law, practice law, talk about law, teach the law. Only you guys. And then all of a sudden, we get a whole bunch of the people, the American people. They don't even know what the law is, and those bar members don't teach you what the real law is. And when do you see? And tell me what channel. Post it in the link. Just post it down in the comments. Where is? Tell me a YouTube or whatever platform. Where are bar members teaching the people what their true powers and authority are, and how to keep their government servants complying to the law? Where are they teaching us that? If they're our bar members teaching us that, and not just starting today, but it has to be, they've been doing it. Because if they're the ones that want to monopolize the law, why is it that while monopolizing the law, why are they choosing to not teach the people, the true owners of this nation, the true owners of this government, the masters? Why are they choosing to not teach the people, the head honchos, the real head honchos of this nation, the top dogs of this nation? Why? If you want to talk slang. Okay, why are they not teaching us? Is there an agenda for that? Is there a reason for that? Does that benefit the people? Because our three branches of government can only do things that benefit us. And all three branches, all servants in three branches, and all three branches they have a duty and obligation to support, defend, and protect our rights. The moment they learn that our rights are being trespassed, infringed, encroached, hidden, they have to activate faithfully activate immediately, diligently, kick into gear, and support, defend, protect our rights. And it doesn't benefit us if we aren't the people, the masters of this, this nation, if we cannot talk about the law. If we cannot help each other know our true powers. It doesn't benefit us for our true powers to be hidden from us. Why are they allowing a private membership association to be the only ones that can talk about law, and they call it practice law, and yet they're not doing any teaching to the people so that the people can know what the real law is? Why is that? And why are the bar members themselves, why are the bar members putting people, the masters, through procedures that are not for the masters? They are for servants, those procedures that the people are being put through. Why are they partaking in taking the people's property, which the servants swore to defend and protect the people's property? Why are they allowing a private membership association, a group of members, why are they being allowed to take things from the people without a constitutional due process, without a court of record, without a jury of the people's peers, freely, without sale, without purchase, without being obliged to purchase it in a public court, which means it's not secret, not a secret court, not in secret proceedings, not secret talks behind closed chamber doors where you get no transcript and you hear nothing, you get no recording, so you can know what are they talking about in there. The attorneys, the bar members with the bar member judge, what are they talking about in there that I, one of the people, cannot hear because they made it secret against me, and I cannot hear that secret, whatever it was they were discussing? How is that being allowed by the rest of our servants? They have to kick into gear and defend the people because that is a harm against the people, and it's super clear because the people are being harmed daily because all of their property, the various properties are being taken from people, including what is known, you've heard this called the liberty interest. The children are the liberty interests of the parents. Yes, we can say, and yes, the children are the liberty interests of the parents, but it's even more than that because God Almighty is the only one who made the choice and created that human and gave it to that mother and that father for them to be the parents, for them to be mom and dad. And that was by God. It was his choice, his decision. Who can stand against God? Who dares to stand against what God has done? They are in deep trouble with God. A place awaits, a dark, horrible, evil place called hell. So they must repent. If they stand against God, the only time that anyone, not just a little private group, not a little private company, a little business, steps in to supposedly because they have got, this compelling public interest. They have concerns. So they step in and kidnap the children because they have already confessed openly. It's on the record that they take children without warrants, and that is not allowable, permissible in the law to take children without warrants. They've admitted to this. They've already admitted that they're doing it outside of the law, taking children without warrants and not letting the people show their evidence, and they're not being put in a court of record with jury of their peers to take their children, the most beloved children, the thing that hurts the people the most when it's taken. They're not doing that. And so since this is really common knowledge now, it's been already reported in the record. And our servants know of this. Why have they not done something about it? Is my question. Are they all in on it? Are they all going to be, showing that they're all in on it? Well, the trust protectors, the people, must step up and give them proper notice and proper affidavits and put it on the record judicially and pin them down with the law, with the highest law in this nation. And once the people know their true powers, there is nothing that the evil, wicked servants, the unfaithful ones, can do to harm us anymore. They will not be able to harm us anymore. They will have to stop because the people know the jig is up. So the fact of simply knowing and showing that we the people know what the true highest powers are and who has full authority, who has all political power, who are the masters. Once the people know this and they let the servants know, hey, we know now. We know. That's it. That's it. They will no longer be able to hurt the people. They can't do it. They can't do it because as there are many unfaithful servants in our three branches, but there are also many that they just didn't know. They just don't know what the true law is. They haven't studied it. It's been kept from them. Remember, there are bar members, for whatever reason, I don't know. They're in the three branches. Why are they in the three branches when they're a private membership group? And why are they in the three branches? Being able to communicate to each other privately, secretly, away from the public eye, away from the people's oversight, and yet they have disregarded the separation of powers. They're in all three branches. How is that allowed? If our trustees, if our servants are not allowed to go and do any function in any other branch than their own, in their own particular jobs, and stay within that job, they can't go do anything else in any other branch. They're not allowed to do that. It's called separation of powers. Why are they allowing a private group to do it? Why are they allowing a private group to do it with no oversight from the people? We can't go into their private membership and see what it was they were planning to do to us or for us. Were they planning on doing something very nice to us? We can't even know that. What if they were being saintly? What if they were being really wonderful people, planning on being such good helpers of the world? But we can't see that because we don't have oversight into their private affairs, in their private membership. They're private. It cannot be infiltrated. It cannot be looked into because it's private. And so they're also in our three branches. Are they talking about it privately? What's going on in all three branches? How do we know what's really going on if they're doing what we did not authorize anyone to do? And they're doing it. And our servants are allowing it to happen. So now, they can't. See, the General Assembly shall not grant to any citizen or class of citizens, not even bar members, privileges or immunities which upon the same terms shall not equally belong to all the citizens. You can find it at Arkansas Constitution. I really want you to look at this one. You're going to be happy. Look, this is New Mexico State Constitution, and I quote, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied equal protection of the laws. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied on account of the sex of any person." This is New Mexico State Constitution, Article 2, text of Section 18, due process, equal protection, and sex discrimination. So let's look at this. Let's break it down. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay, this is a constitutional term. This is a contract term. This is a compact term. This is a trust indenture term. It's the contract they swore to support, defend, and protect and comply with. They have to comply with this. And this is in the Constitution, so this is constitutional due process of law. They don't have to put it down in some statute. We already have it here. They don't have to be redundant or confuse the people and make the people think that our rights are coming from statutes. They are not coming from statutes. Our rights are not even coming from the Constitution. They're coming from God. We just simply wrote them down in the constitutions so that our servants would know what it is they're supposed to comply with, support, defend, and protect. And so the people would know what their rights are, what their inherent rights are, what is guaranteed to them. So our posterity would know, so we wouldn't forget, so they wouldn't forget. So we have something in writing to look at that they already swore or affirmed to and signed on the line to comply with faithfully. So this is constitutional due process of law we're talking about. You see? Not administrative due process. That's for servants. Okay, nor shall any person be denied equal protection of the laws. Equality of law, equality of rights under the law. Okay, this should not be denied. Let's look at this piece right here. Nor shall any person be denied equal protection of the laws. It's already in the constitutional term of the contract. This is it right here. That nor shall any person be denied equal protection of the laws. So how about a poor person that cannot afford to pay for equal protection of the laws? What about them? Well, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say only if you pay for it. Only if you have enough money for it. Only if you hire a bar member. No, it doesn't say that. You shall, the people, should not be denied equal protection of the laws. And it doesn't. It's in any. It's you. It's part of you. So wherever you go, it goes with you. You're in this state, it's with you. You're in that state, it goes with you. Wherever you are, it's inherent to you, guaranteed to you by servants, given to you by God. God is a loving God. Now let's look at this one. Equality of rights under law shall not be denied on account of the sex of any person. Well, they were at one time they were thinking, well, but people are being denied equal rights under the law because, they may be a woman, right? They're a woman, so they're being treated unequally. Well, they made sure, should not be denied on account of the sex of any person. It's okay. The man has equal rights and equal protection under the law, and so does the woman, the female, the girl. The humans have the people have equal rights and equal protection of rights under the law. It's for the people, and it's already in the contract. They don't need to write statutes to confuse people. They should not do that, because now people look at statutes thinking that their rights are coming from statutes. They're not coming from statutes. They're not coming from statutes. No, they're not coming from the codes, which I have a lot of things to tell you. It's going to shock you about codes and make you pretty upset. Very upset. So you see, that's why this is important for you to know. Look at the powers that were hidden from you. And you need to know this. Let's look at compact, because we're about to look at the word compact in a constitutional term. You'll see. Contract term. Okay, so compact, it's an agreement or contract between persons, nations, or states. Commonly applied to working agreements between and among states concerning matters of mutual concern. A contract between parties which creates obligations and rights capable of being enforced, and contemplated as such between the parties in their distinct and independent characters. A mutual consent of parties concerned respecting some property or right that is the object of the stipulation, or something that is to be done or forborne. A lot of you know the word forborne. The word forborne means like not done. Don't do it because it's something that is to be done, or forborne, not done. All right, so let's look at this. So it's an agreement or contract between persons, nations, or states. That's a compact. That's why our constitutions are compact, commonly applied to working agreements between and among states concerning matters of mutual concern. They're concerned about these mutual things, right? A contract between parties. Let me take care of the little meow meows. Okay, so it's a contract between parties which creates obligations and rights capable of being enforced. They definitely, when it's our constitution, it's a trust indenture, of course they're going to be capable of being enforced. It's a compact. It has to be enforced, right? And it's contemplated as such between parties. They understand this. It's going to be enforced. It can be enforced. And they're distinct and independent characters. Okay, a mutual consent of parties. You see, remember, they consent to be governed, and we consent to let them be governed and work for us as servants, as long as they remain within the law and obey exactly the terms and don't go beyond the terms. Don't do anything that we didn't hire them to do, right? Okay, so and it's respecting some property. All your rights are your property. They belong to you. Or right, see, so it's very clear, it's redundant. That is the object of the stipulation. So, yes, in the compact, they agreed that they were going to support, defend, and protect our rights. That was stipulated. In other words, it was agreed to. They signed it. They agreed to that. They're going to do it. And or something that is to be done. Okay, something to be done is to support, defend, and protect our rights. Or foreborn. And while doing that, they are to make sure not to do these things. They cannot trespass, infringe, encroach, or hide our rights and our full powers. That's foreborn. They can't do that. They must do this, and they must not do that. It's in the compact. Look at this fire one. Now you're gonna love this one. Ready? This is really important, just like the ones I showed you over there. That these are powerful. Watch this one. This is Virginia State Constitution, Article 1, text of Section 1, Equality and Rights of Men. And I quote, that all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. You see, when we volunteer, we are the people. We don't have to be citizens if we don't want to, and behave like citizens if we don't want to. We can remain up there being free and independent people, doing our own stuff, existing. We have a right to be on this land and exist by God. Now, we voluntarily enter into society. We can go in and out like a yo-yo, in and out, in and out, in and out, just like that a restaurant, in and out. We go like a yo-yo, in and out, as much as we want to, as long as we want to, into the society, out of the society, into the society, out of the society, whenever we want to, whenever it benefits us, and the government servants may not be upset about it or stop us, because they must do everything to benefit us. And if that benefits us, they must allow it, because it benefits us, the people, the masters, the head honchos, the top of the top, the cream of the crop. We are the ones. The reason for the season, the ones that are being celebrated, that's us, the people. And they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity. We cannot enter into any compact removing the rights of our children or of anyone. And the servants definitely can't do it. Enter into any contract where it is agreed that let's turn everyone into slaves and get rid of all their rights. No, there's no compact that can exist, that is enforceable, that is valid, that deprives or divests the posterity of any of their rights. And this is to mention some, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, right? With means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. For example, if they lock you down and force you to stay home and harass you when you go to work, they're stopping you from acquiring, possessing property. They're stopping you from meeting your future love of your life, the one you're going to marry. They're interfering with your happiness because now you couldn't go make money, you couldn't buy a car, so you couldn't take your date you couldn't take that special gal on a date, could you? Because you had no car or gas money for that car because they stopped you from going to work because they said so. Servants commanding the masters is not allowed. Servants trying to govern the masters is not allowed. It is treasonous. It is an attack on our constitutions. It is an attack on the people. It is war. It is war against the United States of America. It is a war against all the people, because when one of the people is harmed by servants, then all of the people are potentially in danger. And it will grow if it's unchecked. This is the last one. I'm going to leave you with this for this video. And the below is why we need to take what we learn and spread it to all people as fast as possible. And this is also a term in the contract, because they were charged by us. They're in the contract. They affirmed, they swore to comply with every term of the contract. And we told them they have to have an effective system of education. Now listen. It says this is Virginia State Constitution, Article 1, text of Section 15, qualities necessary to preservation of free government. And I quote, that no free government nor the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people, but by a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, frugality, and virtue, by frequent recurrence to fundamental principles, and by the recognition by all citizens that they have duties as well as rights, and that such rights cannot be enjoyed save in a society where law is respected and due process is observed. The free government rests on, as does all progress, upon the broadest possible diffusion of knowledge, and that the commonwealth should avail itself of those talents which nature has sown so liberally among its people, by assuring the opportunity for their fullest development by an effective system of education throughout the commonwealth. Now let's look at it and break it down. We'll break some of it down. All right. So it says here that no free government nor the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people but by a firm adherence to justice. That's right. Justice has to be all the time. There must be justice all the time. Because if there is justice whenever they feel like it, in this case but not that case, in this situation but not that situation, it is not consistent. It is only for their buddies but not for us. That's not allowed. Right? Because then it's not a free government. Free government where the people are free. Right? Where they do the right thing. You have to have justice. You have to have moderation. You have to have temperance, frugality, and virtue. And I want to focus on this: by frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. So they have to frequently go back and read the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Rights, and also the maxims of law, which we'll go into in other videos, which I have already done other videos about. We'll go into it again. And they are fundamental principles that are already universally accepted by everyone, except tyrants, except those self-benefiting humans that wish to rule and oppress others. But everyone else already knows. They're recognized. The other ones can refuse to recognize those principles, but they're already are seen as proven and don't need to be proven. And we'll get into the maxims of law. They're more fundamental principles. And also they need to look at our constitutions to know what it is there to defend and protect, right? They need to have a frequent recurrence to all of these things so that we can have a functioning society the way we created it. So, okay, and it says by the recognition by all citizens that they have duties as well as rights. Yes, all citizens, we have to know that we have duties and rights. For example, the people, no one can govern us, so no one can force this on you, and it is a duty. But if you choose to endanger yourself to become slaves, then neglect the duty, because it's all voluntary for us, for the people. But if you want to be safe and not become a slave, then you have to really consider performing your duty. What are your duties? To instruct our government, to instruct our servants, our trustees, our representatives, to instruct them. We have the constitutionally guaranteed right to instruct them, to do remonstrance to them, to tell them, let them know when some company of theirs, when someone that they licensed, that they chartered, or maybe even those they forgot to charter, are harming us. Because you see, many of the corporations that they have licensed, that they have chartered, are attacking the people's constitutionally guaranteed rights. And they can say they have no authority of them, or they don't know what they can do, and that's not true. They can remove their license, take it away. They can dissolve them. They can remove them from being a company or corporation. They take away that license when they're attacking the people. There are things that they can do to defend and protect the people's rights, and they know it. And if they don't know it, we tell them. We tell them in a way that they cannot hide that we told them. They cannot hide it. If you give them a phone call, they could refuse to answer the phone call, or they can say they didn't remember you talking about that to them in the phone call, because it's not on the record. But when you put it on the record, they can't deny that. It's on the record, and anyone can look at the record and see what was in there in that record and know, oh my gosh, they were told about this and they did nothing. You see, that's why it's important to do it right, and that's where David Jose comes in. And I'll talk to you more about David Jose in a moment. You can learn what he has. Okay, so now listen. So we do have those rights, those duties to tell them and let them know when they are harming, encroaching, trespassing our rights. They have to know, and then they have to take care of it. Or we have to let them know. It's our duty to let them know, because whatever helps us helps other people. We have the duty to go ahead and get redress of grievance and get our things back. Because when we get our things back, then the other servants recognize, look, this is what the true obligation of a servant. This is what we are to do. And they because they see by example. They do things also by example. This is the right way to do what we're supposed to do. Let me see, where'd you read that? Oh, you're right. It does say that there. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. that it had that written down there, that we swore to it. Oops, we better get to it and start doing it right. Let's give them redress of grievance. Return their things quickly. Return their things. Otherwise, we are also going to be culpable. We're going to be guilty. We're going to be partaking in harming the people, and we don't want to do that. We want to be good to the people that we serve. We want to be good to the people that we must benefit, that we contracted with, and we're getting paid to benefit them and serve them, and we better do it. All right. Oh, I didn't know there was a word treason in there. What's that? What does that word mean? Oh my gosh, I didn't see that in the contract. Why did no one tell me there was the word treason that I agreed to in the contract? Hurry, redress their grievances. See? That's how it is. Okay, so, and such rights cannot be enjoyed save in a society where law is respected and due process is observed. So law has to be respected. The highest law is in our constitutions. It's the common law, and our constitutions are exemplary of the common law. That is not all of the common law. There's more, and we'll show you. It's in the Bible. It comes from the Bible, and that's part of the common law. And it's all good, because it all is good. God is good, and therefore all he says and all he does is good. Only good. Really, really good. So it is good that God is good because he's good to us, and now we have good things. Now we have good common law for all of us, for all the people. And we'll talk to you more about that in another video. So it says here that free government rests and does all progress upon the broadest possible diffusion of knowledge. So in order to have a free government, make sure that people are not being oppressed and servants are complying with their duties and obligations. Then, and all progress, we need to progress in this in our nation and have our kids correctly, fully, number one, in education. It all rests on this, on the broadest possible diffusion of knowledge. That is what our government servants need to be doing, using the broadest possible diffusion of knowledge. They need to get on the speakers. They need to call the news networks. They need to start making the speeches. And they need to start telling everyone, the people and the servants, what the people's full powers, authority, and rights are. And they have to start teaching everyone. And that is their obligation. We hired them to do that. And honestly, have you been seeing any servant do any of that? Because I have not. I am still waiting, except the one, and there have been a few now starting to speak up. Like Leah Cushman from New Hampshire, a representative in the House of Representatives. She is a good and faithful servant, and she spoke up and she taught the other servants the truth of the matter, that we are their masters, we are their we are the masters and they're the servants, and they're supposed to be instructed by us. She said we don't tell them to stand on their heads, but we do tell them when our rights are being trespassed, and they have to protect. She said they have to assist in protecting our rights. Assist means help. Assist means help us protect our rights. That's what they're supposed to do. Help us protect our rights diligently, faithfully, until our rights are protected. Until that happens. Not just stop halfway on and give up and say, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. No, until it gets done. They're supposed to go ahead and use all their microphones and start teaching the people and start teaching our servants. If they don't do that, and they've already heard Leah Cushman, if they've already heard her express this and they don't get on board and they don't quickly participate in teaching the people our full powers and authority over them, then they are willingly part of the problem. And that's not good for them at all. So now, and that the Commonwealth should avail itself of those talents which nature has sown so liberally among its people. Yes, by assuring the opportunity for their fullest development. People, there's so much talent so many wonderful people in our nation that can do so many things, and yet our education is failing them. It's failing them because it is not allowing them to have the full development of their abilities. And many times when some say inventors, when they invent something, they are squashed, they are quieted, somehow they disappear and they are not allowed to proceed. Or if there are some people who are very intelligent and they could have developed it and acquired the skills and the knowledge to have wonderful careers that supported their families very well, that brought money to them, very well, so they can acquire property as they are supposed to do. But because they were not well educated, they were failed growing up. Our education system is not producing number one educated students as it should be. We will only tolerate first-rate education. We have to be number one. That's the only thing we will accept, because there's no reason for it not to be so. First in the whole world. And what's happening in our education system is that the time when they're young and when they get to high school, those are powerful. Those are their minds are capable of absorbing and learning so many things. And if that time is wasted in garbage learning things that will never be necessary in the world for functioning properly, and if their education is spread out in such a way where the children struggle to figure out what it is that they're supposed to learn, we have to make it easy for them to learn. We have to memorize this. And yes, there has to be memorization, because when they're taught how to memorize, when they're young, they will always be able to memorize even more as they grow older. Now, I have seen it firsthand, because I educated my children, homeschooled them, and they beat the pants out of my knowledge, because I knew what other people were using to help their children develop very good memorizing skills, abilities, how to memorize. Well, I used those things for them, but I'm an older person, so it's not the same thing once you're older. It can help you a little bit, but it's not the same. When you're young and you learn these methods of how to memorize, the way to memorize easily, and it works, and they memorize things, the more they memorize, the easier for their mind to memorize even more. The more they memorize even more, the more ability they have to memorize even more. My kids were memorizing Shakespeare, could recite Shakespeare, could recite many things, many things with their memory, and they can learn very easily and read very well, fast, understand things very well. But our system, I'm so upset because their education was interrupted, because also, even though you homeschool, they still meddle in the homeschooling process. They still boss you around and tell you what to do and what not to do, when first of all, they don't have they're servants. They can't tell the parents what to do, what not to do in the education of their children, because the parents want, if they're loving parents, of course, they want their children to be the best educated children. And if the schools are not doing it and they choose to homeschool to do something about it, then they meddle again in the homeschooling. So I had so much interruption by them, telling me what they had to memorize, what they had to learn at what time, and not this but that. And I had to then double curriculum, learn for them and then learn for us what we were doing. Because you see, there's a way to learn, and you have to learn things in increments and a type of learning, foundational learning, so that it builds on top of the other bits of information. You have to set the groundwork so that then things are attached to that groundwork and it all makes sense. The way they're doing it in schools is they're having sporadic, spread out knowledge here, there, all dissected. Nothing relates to the other thing. It doesn't connect with the other things. There's no foundational work that has to be memorized so that when they add to that, it all clicks in and makes sense. It's not done right. We are not number one. You could just look up. Are we number one in education? Are we number one? Are we number two? Are we number three? Are we number four? Are we what position do we have? Oh, and it better be in all subjects. We're not number one in all subjects. Well, the system has failed the people, and it needs to be redone. Everything needs to be redone. It's done wrong. And guess what? The very wealthy people, do they put the children in just a regular public school, or do they take them to these special high cost learning institutes, learning places, where they are taught differently than in the public systems, where they are taught, and all the students, they come out like, why the heck do they sound like they're all geniuses? You mean all these wealthy people have all these genius children? No, that's not it. Is that they were taught in a way that it created groundwork information that to build on it, to make sense with the other things, so things click together and relate to everything. Everything is in relationship, and they have to be taught how to memorize, because memorization is important. And they don't want to do that in public schools. They don't want to teach children how to memorize. They don't really, and then they teach them, for example, songs. They're ridiculous songs with repetitive words that teach them nothing and are useless in their lives. In homeschooling, we memorize songs, but they had information. They had historical facts in them. They had that scientific facts that they could sing and memorize. It made sense. Our kids then memorized the timetables and their addition facts, subtraction. They memorized those. You cannot be wasting time counting on your fingers, because then what happens is the student becomes overwhelmed, and they become self-conscious, and they realize, oh my gosh, my friends, they're going to see how stupid I am. I have to use my fingers, and then they quit. That is horrible. That is, we failed. No, we didn't fail. Our servants failed our children, and that has to change. And definitely they have to teach our children from elementary on up, and in every year, all their college years and university years, and elementary, high school, junior, middle school, all the way from the beginning. They have to be taught that they're the masters in this nation. They are the masters, and they are the bosses of all government. And they have to be taught what their rights are, simple form, easy does it as they go, little tiny bits of information, and they have to get then more and more deep into it as they get older, right? So they know how to correct our servants if they step out of line. Stepping out of line means outside of the law, means outlaws. It's doing things contrary to what law is, without authority. You see? That's why I leave with this. So now, whatever it is you learn, just pick one single thing. If you just put out a video somewhere, spread the news to your friends, tell others. Please tell others what the true law is, to look into every single constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Rights. Look at all of them. That's what our servants are supposed to comply with. That is what they're supposed to protect, and those are your rights written so you become familiar. Look, so we all are free, okay? So we all are safe, so we all live better lives, including, that our government's supposed to be benefiting us, and whatever they acquire, it is acquired for the masters. So if they make money in some sort of venture with another country, that we're supposed to be receiving the benefits of that. Something has to come to our pockets, is it? Something has to come to our pockets, because that's all ours. If they're making money doing something, well, that's our money. It's not their money. The servants don't get to keep that money, but somehow, if there's a corporation, somehow whatever they bring in amounts to whatever got spent, and the paychecks, and it's all gone, and the people get nothing. Get nothing when we're supposed to be getting something all the time. They're making money, And that money they're making is our money. It's for us. Really, it's for us. No one has even talked about that. Did you know that you have that? Wow. Okay. So now this is the end. And what I didn't do and I should have done here, let me see if I can still do it really fast, really fast. Hold on. I'm going to put this right here. You can learn more if you want to. If you want to, you can learn more. And you with David Jose. And you can find him at Real Dave Cares For You on Telegram, Odyssey, Rumble, and X. This thing here called X. Right now, I should have made it a different color. Oh, pooey, I don't think you can see it. Can you see it? No, I made it a football. Let me see if I can fix it. There. All right. X. It's because they used to call it Twitter, and I think they call it X now. So, go find Dave Cares For You, Real Dave Cares For You. Look for David Jose and look for his videos, his free videos. He has so many videos, explaining. He's explaining better than I could explain. Better than I can explain it. I am just echoing what he has taught. I'm echoing what he has taught me, what he has taught others. But he has videos explaining it very well where you can really understand, because his way is that he doesn't want to teach it like he knows scholar words. Believe me, he's a genius. But he wants to teach it so that no one is left behind. That's truly no one is left behind. He's teaching it like 3rd grade level, explaining complex ideas in simple ways. He makes us look up terms. He says, don't even trust him. If he doesn't show you in the written evidence, then don't trust what he says. Don't trust anyone. If they don't show you the written evidence, then how can you rely on that? Because a lot of people have wishful thinking ideas that they have in their head, and then they all pass those ideas along, and then they believe that those are true, but they're not true. Because when you ask them, okay, I really like that idea, but can you show it to me and write it? Where'd you find it? Where'd it come from? Oh, I don't know. That part I don't know. They cannot show you, then how can you rely on that information? How can you trust that that information is true? So what Dave has us do is he has us explain to you, but he has us show you where we're getting that information. Just in case, because you can read it for yourself, and say, for example, if I explain it wrong, and I could explain it wrong, but you can read it for yourself. You can read it for yourself, and then you can figure out if I'm telling you correctly or if I'm not. Because you're seeing it right there. You can look it up yourself and see it for yourself. It's written. And in the same way, our servants, they better only do what is written. That's the only authority they have. Don't let them try to persuade you and convince you that they can do anything as long as it doesn't say they can't do it. Now, isn't that convenient for them and not for the people? No. Now we know the truth. Now we know the truth. Now we know how things are, and we're going to keep on learning even more truth. So stick around, folks, and let's get together with Dave Jose and learn more things. And please don't get discouraged. Like, if you only need to look at his free videos to get everything that you need to have to do this, to assert your rights, to use your true powers and authority over the government, and defend yourself and protect your property, which all your rights are your property. He has them free. They're free, okay? He dedicates his whole time, he's dedicating to studying and teaching and figuring out how to explain it to us in a way that we can understand, and doing, and interacting with us on Telegram, answering questions, helping us, guiding us. It takes up his time, so that he does have these things called webinars. He has their private membership associations you can join if you want to. You don't have to. You can join it. And if you want to, You can join them, and then there is where you would get specific topic learning. You learn a particular thing, and then you can even talk to him live, ask him questions as it's going on. If you have a question, ask it. He will answer you. So those are wonderful. And then we can then continue interacting, posting questions, interacting with each other, asking other members, hey, can you help me explain, can you help me understand this? Because some people have been here with Dave longer than others, so they kind of pick up, they have more information in their heads. And some that join really recently, they, oh my gosh, because God has blessed them with very healthy brains. Well, they learn very quickly, and they know a lot, and they can help you too. So this is what you need to see. Oh, and this is a link to that, so that you can see the one of many servants who are now understanding what the true lie is. She's one of many, because we have communicated with many servants now, and our group has, and now they are responding. The faithful ones are responding very, very well. And this is a link to a video where you can see one of the servants, and it's at the tail end. Her name is Leah Cushman. She's at the tail end of the video that you'll find here. Okay, so God bless you. God protect you. Okay, this is, I'm done with this. God bless you. God protect you. God bless us. God protect us. And we'll talk in the next video. Bye-bye.